Hi guys, it's Dom again, and we're back in 2020. Well, Happy New Year to everyone, firstly and foremost. And I was a bit reluctant to go in today into the markets to trade because the Christmas period had just finished, and there are those people that decide not to go back to work when everyone else does, and they take extended holidays. Um, so I was being a bit careful because I wasn't sure how the markets would react. Um, upon reflection, the markets seem to have been pretty good all week, apart from on Friday when things went a slightly pear-shaped, but nonetheless was recovered fairly well. So I'm going to show you the detailed breakdown of what happened this week. Here we go. So the first trade, you can't actually see the time that I took this because the recording icon was blocking it out, but it was around about 10 a.m. in the morning. Now, you can see here that when we finished last year, the trading balance was 2916. So if you go and have a look at that video, that's what you'll see what it was left at. I've used 5% of 2916, which is roughly about $148, because I want to try and stick to the percentages this time around. So as you can see, the balance has come down from 2916. It's come down to 2813 because we've just placed the $148 trade. The thing was, this trade didn't actually work out. So if I move that along, as you can see here, when the time expired, that amount was lost, hence why the balance still shows 2813 because we didn't make anything. I then proceeded and I placed another trade. This time I went for 10%. Now really I should have gone again for 5%, but I wanted to kind of recover the loss that I'd just incurred and get some profit out of it. So as you can see here, I took a trade here, 296, so 2813 take away 2813 take away 296 gives you 2517. Okay, now that was a 10% trade. So if I move this on, you can clearly see here that in fact the $296 trade actually did win, and that meant we recovered our losses and pushed it up into a profit. Not an immense amount, but nevertheless we started with 2916 and we are now up at 3076. So that's over $100, $150, $106. I'm not sure exactly, something I can't bother to work it out right now, but the point is that we've made a profit, and that's what we wanted. Now on Monday I didn't want to tempt fate because even though it seemed to be okay, I wasn't sure exactly how things would work out. I was quite happy with the profit I made, so I decided that enough was enough, and I packed up and said no, we'll wait until the following day. So Tuesday the 7th of Jan, what we've got here is again I took a $153 trade because yesterday we pushed the balance up to 3076. So again 5% of that was roughly about $153, so I stuck with the 153. Had a good payout rate, 85%. This time it was the GP USD because I think on this particular day I checked the Euro USD and the payout was like 63% or something, so I wasn't that keen. So as you can see, I've placed another trade. This time we've got two trades outstanding now. Again, it was another 5% trade. I saw that the markets look great basically, so that's why I took another trade there. Remember, the maximum amount of trades that you should take is 3 really. Unless you've got a big account, then of course you can go on for a bit more, but 3 is what you should really keep to if you're a complete novice. Right, so as we can see, I then went in again and I placed another trade, this time at 10.29, another $153 trade. So I was just sticking to the rules basically. Now if I move this on a bit more, we can see that the first trade didn't actually win, it drew. So when I placed the investment, the closing price was exactly the same as the opening price, so I didn't make any profit. All I did is got the investment that I originally put out back. So no loss but no profit on that particular trade there. However, when the other two remaining trades closed, they both won. So that left us a result of 566.10. Again, we started the account today with 3076. It's now up at 3336.94. So again, nice profit, not too big, not too small, and within reason. So I was quite happy with that. Again, I left the markets for Tuesday. Wednesday. So we finished at 3336, didn't we? Right. So Wednesday, I took a $166 trade, which would have been 5% of that balance that I started with initially. Hence, it's reflected in the balance over here. So yeah, I took a $166 trade there, and that's at 8:55 in the morning because I had things to do, so I needed to start trading early. But also, I wouldn't have traded if I didn't see an opportunity. I then placed another $166 trade because it was not going exactly how I expected it to, but it was at the point where it should have started to go in the opposite direction, but it wasn't. So I took another trade, $166 again. As you can see, it's reflected in the balance up there. And then the first trade came through, so I walked off with $310. As you can see, as reflected in the balance over there. So let's just double check that. Right, okay, it hasn't reflected in the balance yet, but it will be. You'll see it in the screenshot. You'll see the balance go up. But as you can see, that trade's positive. It's in green. Okay. The second trade, again, that came through as well. That was successful. So those two $166 trades that I placed came through positive. As you can see, it's pushed my balance back up now, right to 3625. So I thought enough was enough, and that was me out for the day. Thursday the 9th of Jan. So we can see we took a $181 trade. That obviously reflected in the bank balance. I then took another $181 trade, which brought it down to 3263.78. Yeah, so as you can see, the first $181 trade failed, but the second one came through. You can tell that because the area's in orange, and you can see that the investment was 362, but the result was only 333. So that tells me one $181 trade came through with profit, but the other one failed, which is why I've got a lower, or I've made a very, very minute loss, just around 30 bucks, something like that. However, the $362 trade that I took came through, and as you can see, that was a profit of it's pushed my balance all the way up now to 3,900. To be honest, I was quite happy with this result, so I decided to call it a day. Friday, that's today, 10th of Jan. This was fun and games. When I went into the markets and logged on, the markets looked in a perfect position. Even the payout on the Euro USD was looking really good on pocket option. I thought, oh, this is good. So without hesitation, I didn't even use all my indicators. I just looked at it and I thought, right, it's definitely the point to go in. Probably not the best assumption to make because as you can see here, I used 5% of the 3,900. That's 195. Now it hasn't actually come down or reflected in the bank balance yet, but that will come down. You'll see that. So take 195 off that. Took a place to trade there. It was about 8:33 in the morning. I was scheduled to go and meet somebody at about 11 o'clock, so I wanted to start trading early, and it just so happened that the market just happened to be in the positions that I thought were great. I then went and placed a further $195 trade. As you can see, the bank balance has come down now. The balance has come down out to 3510. That would have been $295 trade, so I placed that one. I then went and placed another $195 trade because I was so sure that it was going to go up in the opposite direction. So exposure there is what, 15%, about that. As you can see, the balance has been reflected in there. Okay, however, those three trades all failed. So, well, two of them failed first, So that's 390, as you can see, lost over there. But the third one that you can see that's open over here, that also didn't come through. That failed as well. So my balance was then left at 3315. This is the point where I would have stepped away and stepped out and thought, right, leave it for another day. And then I thought, actually, we've got the non-farm payrolls later on today about 1:30, so I could in theory trade then. I was also toying with the idea of placing a 15% into the markets, investing. That's why it's 585. But I was also thinking, if it's doesn't work out, then obviously that's quite. It's a 20% loss, but it's going to reflect in my balance, and it's going to bring it down quite a lot. However, I took another look at the markets, and I thought, you know what, this is going to work. You just have to be a bit more persistent. It does work. It just takes a bit longer than usual. I didn't go straight in. I waited for a bit longer, and then I placed my trade about 20 minutes. How long was it? It was about, yeah, it was about half an hour later. I placed my trade. It's about half an hour later, because it kind of went up and then it was coming down to another point where I saw, right, if it hits there, it's definitely going to go up again. So I placed that $585 trade, but when I did it, I was holding the mouse button down and it placed the trade twice. Now, I wasn't pleased about this because I didn't want to take $585 twice. That's just over investment and not what I wanted to do. And if I'd closed it, I'd have made a big loss. So I thought the only thing I can do is I've got to let it run. However, while it was running, I then decided to take another $585 trade because it went to a point where I just knew it was going to go back, and I thought, well, I'm probably going to make a loss here, but I wasn't exactly sure how much. Anyway, it brought my balance down to 1560, as you can see that there, and then we just waited it out, and as you can see here, the first two $585 trades came through successfully, so that pushed my bank balance up, or balance up back to 3731, sorry, 3737, and the last $585 trade was home free, and that came through as well, and that netted me another grand nearly, so that pushed the overall balance up to 482520. So quite happy at the end of the week trading. This all was done. This was, bear in mind, this was trading from 8:30 in the morning to 9:30, or just before 9:30. So that's just under an hour. Because usually I set myself a span of an hour, and if I don't see anything or I don't take any trades, I get out of the market after about an hour. I was going to go in and redo the non-farm payrolls, and in fact I did go in. I went back in the afternoon after the news got released. I was at my parents' house when I did it. However, it moved a lot quicker than I thought it would, and I was expecting it to retouch certain levels, and it didn't. It kind of just went up, and usually I wait about 15 minutes before I start placing my trades, but I was finding that it was going in the opposite direction. It didn't show any sign of returning, so I called it down. I thought, I'm not even going to trade because I made my money this morning. What's the point of going in again and risking it when you don't really need to? I don't make that mistake again, so I just left it. So yeah, the end of the first week has been pretty positive, and as you can see, the balance is up. We'll see how we get on next week. Thanks for watching.